Hey guys, I am John Carrick, and today we are looking at Conan the Barbarian 108. Here it's the Devourers of Darfar. I think that's how it's pronounced. Darfar. Darfur. I don't know where Darfur was. This is the Two of Cups, the unicorn. No water in this one. The pink unicorn. That's symbolic, isn't it? Ride the pink unicorn. All right, Conan 108 with Diana on the cover, not Livia. Here they are out in the rain, and Conan has his male shirt on. And I don't know, this is that blue shirt. I don't know if he had this at all in the last issue, so I'm gonna look. I was wondering about this when I was reading it. Yeah, he escaped wearing it, so that's cool. And they're in a rainstorm, and the Moon Eaters of Darfar. Now, we are off of the L. Sprague de Camp and Lynn Carter adapted story. And this is all Roy Thomas again. And you'll recognize how it's more... I don't want to say simple. There are a lot fewer moving parts. But we do get some older characters reemerge, and that's always going to be a writer and not adapted from a story. You know, this is continuity. This is a continuity issue. So there's a couple centuries up ahead. This is where it's a comic book writer and not adapted from a novel. And this is where even as a kid I would have noticed, and I noticed today, the centuries talk like they're from England and they're African. God knows they don't have African sentries miles out from the city. And when Conan tells them to stand down, that he's the commander of the guard, they say, bullshit, we haven't met him, and whoever you are, we'll take you back to the queen, and you're under arrest. So Conan has to dump her off the horse, drive a sword up under one guy's chin, the other guy runs. And now they have an extra horse. And this is, so here's why I mentioned the shirt, because there's a few times I noticed this. This guy's wearing a green cloak. He goes down wearing a green cloak. Livia is now wearing a green cloak. Diana. I keep calling her, even in my head, I'm calling her Livia. So she's now huddled up in front of the fire, cold and wet, and having a rough night. We're not giving the artwork enough justice. I do love that John Buscema does these heavy black outlines on his flashbacks. And so that's what these panels are. And that's her backstory about how she and her father were in one city that caught the plague. This guy brought the plague. Some wandering salesmen brought the plague. They fled. Their boat got taken over by pirates. The pirates had their way with her and sold her to the guy who brought her to Queen Tatiana. And now she's with Conan, and he'll keep her warm. And yeah, presumably she's really young and they don't sleep together. Because they're, well, and maybe they do, because the next page, it seems like from their conversation they don't, but the next page she's telling him she wants to be with him. And then these guys attack out of the grass. So as soon as she says, I want to be with you forever till death do us part. And Conan is not, she's not the right kind of, he just lost Bellet. So a slave girl who he has to take care of even more than a child is not the ideal companion. But he's not going to let her be taken by Mad Blacks. Another sword through the throat, and he's carrying her out this time. So back in the 80s, 70s and 80s, this was the only place you got realistic violence. Nowadays it'd be with a gun, but still. This is the equivalent of a zombie movie, right? The savages are basically zombies. You can't reason with them. They're going to eat you. Only you have guns instead of swords. It's the same fight. These guys are filed teeth cannibals. That's what they're going to do. My, how the world changes. In the 80s, Africa was still a unconquered, to the average people's mind, it's still, to this day, it's an unconquered continent. It certainly is uncivilized. So they chase Conan. Conan comes upon this caravan. He knows this guy. I don't know why they colored the Stygians with this weird yellow-gray, brown-gray. It's bad gray. Green gray is what it is. They're coloring them green. And they should be tan. They should just be darker tan than Conan. Anyhow, this guy knows Conan, and Conan is getting chased by these monsters, and they are holding the whole. This is where it becomes bad comic book writing and not good novel writing. And this is why I don't mind having become a better writer than a good comic book writer. Roy Thomas is considered the best of the best comic book writer, and this is bullshit. So this filed-tooth monster lets it be known that they want to eat the white girl. They want to take her for their cooking pots, for their ceremony where they eat the moon. And Conan says, we're not giving her the white girl. I just fought all this way. Bullshit. And then they said, well, then 2 men. And then Conan and this guy go back and forth about, isn't it funny that the blacks consider white women worth 2 of your men? And so this guy says, yeah, isn't it funny? But Conan, you're going to be one of them. And Conan's like, all right, I'll escape. And then he sends this guy, this apprentice wizard. They, do a quick eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and send this apprentice wizard who he and Conan are now slaves of the blacks, and they're going to into the cooking pot tonight. Conan is in chains. This guy's like, don't worry, I got a way out. I'll get us out of this mess you've gotten us into. And this is, could be funny if it weren't so serious. Great art. This is a Tarzan story, right? Anyone in Africa is a Tarzan story, but a powerful white guy. Conan's like a more dangerous Tarzan. Now, we are going to see something that we have seen before. I like the saber-tooth, or whatever kind of, mountain lion that is. He's got a chain around his neck, and he's chained to the guy behind him. And the guy behind him is very much a Don Knotts character. Not Don Knotts. What was his name in Kelly's Heroes? Don Rickles. He's like Don Rickles. And he's making jokes and shit. And he and Conan are allowed to talk because they don't speak their language and they consider them to be as beasts. And that's the reason that they give. But this guy is totally a Don Rickles character, and he is a wizard. A wizard's apprentice. And here is the fire pit that they're going to cook them in. And they also have Conan's horse, which is a good bit of luck. And so as they're dancing around, preparing for the ceremony, this wizard's apprentice has a few vials of acid up his sleeve. And we saw that Juma, the black, had vials of acid up his sleeve when he first met Conan in like issue 30-something. And he did this same trick to get them out of prison. And this guy's getting them off of their chains. And he gets Conan out. And he says there's only a little bit left. And so Conan's like, okay, well, it'll have to be enough. And Conan breaks his chains. And then, because this guy doesn't have any weapons, obviously he doesn't. And the blacks don't have an abundance of lying around knives and whatnot, because they don't. What is a sensational light writer? Conan uses his chains as a weapon. It's almost not fair beating up a tribe of Africans because they're like retards. This guy's going to hit him with a spear, but he's like, My last vial of acid. I'll have to use it. Conan's like, you said you didn't have any more. Or right here, you said you didn't have any more. He splashes it into this dude's face. It's funny how they all have the same star haircut. Conan's now got a battle axe. Yeah. They escape. They get on the horse. The moon is, yeah. He makes some comment about they're going to have to find some other way to eat the moon. I don't remember what it was. It wasn't that funny. Here they get to the city in Stygia that the caravan was heading toward, where Conan will find Diana. And he does. And she's well dressed. And this whole time they're talking about this guy's, the Don Rickles character is like, dude, he's going to sell her. He sells all the women. He gets a good price. He's fucking with Conan hard. And he is the prototype for the, Tracy Walters' character, the guy who played Bob in Batman 1989 in Conan the Destroyer. This is the prototype for that character. But he's really Don Rickles in Kelly's Heroes, that Clint Eastwood World War II movie. And here Diana is like, no, he's got money. I don't like being on the road. I'm sorry, Conan. I like you, but I'm going to stay here with this guy. And Conan's like, he's pissed, but he gets it. And it's just as well. It kind of solves the problem for him, only not in a way that he'd have liked. Because he doesn't want this guy to win. That guy's a douchebag. And Conan hates him, so yeah, it kind of sucks. And then the fucking wizard guy, because this guy betrayed him and sent him to be eaten by blacks, he's not going to go back to work for him. So he's going to be like Conan's new, oh, I love this knight's helmet. I've seen a helmet that looks a little bit like this. I haven't ordered it from India. It doesn't work because the way it was made, it's front heavy, and that front visor the helmet doesn't really stay on your head. But it looks really good for female angels. And so Conan and this wizard guy, they bounce, and that's the end of the story. It's good. And then you get this. I don't know what this is. I didn't really look at it. How to be a wild and crazy guy. I can't believe they stole Steve Martin's shit. They just fucking stole it. Wild and crazy guy. That's fucked. Some douchebag with a Dali mustache. The fuck, man? And wow, Revolutionary War, it's gone up again. These were $1.75 a few issues ago. The Green Army men were. And then the other ones were like $2 something for the medieval ones. Anyhow, it's a good cover. Where's the name on the cover? Right there. I don't know who that is. Hey guys, I am John Carrick, author of Legacy of a Mad Scientist and Legend of Ashley Fox. You can find links to these on our website, ashleyfox.ninja. And there are links to the comics, the novels, the audiobooks. There's also another site, alphachannel.games, where we've got a sign-up list for our race war futuristic racing game. Today I was talking about Conan the Barbarian 108. What is this called? Moon Eaters of Darfar. And this is a pretty condensed comic. I've been taking notes on horses too. John Buscema draws great horses. But there's a lot that happens in here. I mean, you don't even get to the Eaters of Darfar, so you're 5 pages in. And then there are only you have to deal with them the first time and the second time. So, yeah, this is very much a single issue comic. And we don't have number 109. The next one that I've got is 112. And the next one after this is like 124. So there's some big gaps right here. But this looks good. We'll do this tomorrow. I did get a whole bunch of 100 bullets, so I'll be going back to that after a while. That doesn't seem to draw quite as many viewers as the Conan comics, but so be it. Today's conflicted card, the 3 of Hearts, is after the collapse, religious extremism explodes. Now, Cliff High is saying that we're going to get a big bunch of religious revelations this summer. Something's going to come out that's going to upend all the religious beliefs and make them look like trite children's cargo cults, which is probably what they are. You know, meditation, you're not praying the rosary to make you a better person next week. The same as you're not doing meditation to make you a better person next week, or to make you have to serve less time in purgatory, or get to heaven faster, or be more. You're not doing it to be a better person. You're only doing it for those moments while you're doing it. You're doing it so that you can sit there patiently with nothing to do and not be bored. If you're bored, you must be boring. I'm convinced that churches were created as the very first safe spaces for men who'd returned from a lifetime of battle and had never known peace, and now there was peace, and they didn't want the wife yapping in their ear, and they didn't want the kids tugging on their arm, and they just wanted to go somewhere and sit in the quiet and look at paintings and burn some fucking incense and some candles and let the kids sing and nobody fucking talk to me. That's what church was for. That's what church was for. Church was built for a society that was constantly at war. That's what the Christian churches were about. And we took away the war and tried to keep the church. And they don't, one doesn't work without the other. So that's why society is kind of sideways, and that's why the Jews think they are everyone's boss. And here's a pink unicorn. This should make you happy. And yeah, check out our comic book in the description. I did see Trump's speech last night. It was very nice. Having voted for Trump multiple times, I love everyone I love the people that he pisses off. Because the people he pisses them off because he's doing things ostensibly for white people. Chuck Schumer knows that Trump is in the pocket of Zionists, so he's not worried about that. What Trump did to Zelensky, he would never do to Netanyahu. And when we get to that day, and that day is coming, we can openly talk about Jews. So I actually changed my shirt. I had my SS shirt on today, and I switched it just out of, I do have to have some level of caution. I didn't start this channel in 2015. I could have. The books were done. But you know what? I didn't have? I didn't have the book I'm working on now. And it doesn't matter. You can have all the finished work in the world. If you're not working on anything, you don't have anything to talk about. And the whole point, now when I was doing these, I hadn't done one, so it's very hard to go out and promote yourself and say, I'm writing my first novel and I want to come out here and talk to you guys about it every day. I'm writing my 3rd novel, and I have no problem coming out here and talking to you guys about it every day. And I know what I'm doing, and I recognize when it's done right and when it's done wrong. And yeah, if you guys are writing, I want to talk to you. I will take my new novel when it's finished. I'm at about 157 chapters, I think, 158, so almost 160 chapters. I will take it out to Fan Story if Fan Story is still there. I know that's a great place for writers looking to get feedback, immediate feedback from other writers. That was a great site. And it's not all happy feedback. There is some of that because you don't want to just hammer someone and tell them their writing sucks, even if it does. Because taking the effort to do the work and then put it out there for someone, that courage alone deserves some respect. So, but yeah, I'm very happy with my work. I'm extremely proud of it. This first one explores what it's like to be a God-level genius and the implications of that, in that you're isolated and creating things that make you the target of the people around you. So Todd McFarlane, Jim Lee, Rob Liefeld, every musician, the Beatles, they all suffered from this. The great writers, Mozart, Cormac McCarthy, Hemingway, the attention that gets put on a creative genius is pretty intense. And a lot of people fail under it. A lot of writers fail under it. A lot of writers become alcoholic and commit suicide. My favorite ones did. So Cormac McCarthy, I know he might still be alive for all I know. I think he passed away, but he might still be alive. The Legend of Ashley Fox. I wrote the first book to be able to write the second. I started this one first. I had to write The Legacy of a Mad Scientist to finish. I think I finished this one first and just didn't publish it first. I took some more time to edit it and whatnot. This was the story. This is the real story. And I have a lot more in her story. I have a lot more of Ashley's story to tell. So it's one day at a time. So, all right. I hope you guys are doing well. I neglected to say that yesterday. I hope you're writing. I hope you're making music. I hope you're coming up with recipes. I hope you're growing new strains of marijuana or whatever it is you're doing, whatever your art is. Lean in. All right. See you guys tomorrow.